Okay, ask yourself, what do I use a computer for? Most people don't even really think this deep. They just use their computer a lot. Probably more than they should, with these internet addictions and whatnot. I just use it for whatever, bro. That's usually the response. The point is, today I'll teach you how to be a minimalist. Not just in terms of Arch Linux, but in terms of life. You see, minimalism is really about thinking about your shit. Many people these days are on autopilot in their heads. I'll examine this from a computer point of view. Many people run Windows, which is bloated as hell, and they got all these kinds of programs they don't even know is installed on their machine, and they don't even use them. You know what I mean? Many people got these smartwatches. It's like, do you ever actually use a smartwatch? You can apparently take calls with your smartwatch. Like, who's gonna do that? Hello? No one really does that. This autopilot mentality introduces bloat in everyday life. People with a smartwatch. Well, I think it's cool, so I'm going to buy it for $800, and then they just wear it all the time, and it just becomes more of a liability. Keeping things minimal really keeps things simpler, and it makes it so you don't have to waste as much time on that thing. So from computers, if your computer is minimal, upgrading it is going to be easier. Updating it is going to be easier. You don't have to worry about things breaking or crashing. You don't have to worry about dependency crashes or whatever the fuck. You don't have to worry about dreaded Windows updates, and it's just a lot simpler from there. Now, let's go through this question again. What do you use your computer for? Genuinely think about it.
Look how deep I am.
Find the features you want and download and choose the things you need. And honestly, this kind of applies everywhere as well. Minimalism is like the opposite of consumerism. And yes, consumerism is the cause of everything wrong with modern society. I know this is a very big claim, and yes, I'll go over it in the next few videos, but I do think it is a rather uncontroversial statement. Humans just be consuming too much. And consumerism causes you to have a lot of shit you don't need. And most of the stuff you have is actually liabilities. It's like that Fight Club quote. The things you own end up owning you.
Things you own end up owning you.
Having more devices doesn't make your life easier. It makes you have to charge more shit. You spend more time charging shit. The more shit you have, the more time you spend taking care of that shit or paying someone else to do it. Let's take a house, for example. Again, let's get away from the software shit. I'm not saying you should live in a Hong Kong cage, but smaller houses are easier to clean and look after. It's easier to maintain. You sleep, shit, and eat. You don't need a 40-story house for that.
Bruh.
Bigger your house is, the longer you will spend cleaning it. Or the more money you will spend paying somebody to clean it.
Yes.
Same thing with operating systems. Extra features are bloat. How many of them do you really use? How many of the extra features do you really use? You'll think it's cool for a day. Oh, look, there's a heartbeat tracker. Wow. And then you're going to forget it exists the next day. Again, it's like a huge house. When you first move into that huge house of yours, you run around in every room. You admire how big it is. Wow, so much space. And then the next day, you wake up and then you see dust everywhere. And you're like, fuck, I need to clean that now. Or you're going to pay somebody to clean it. Spending money on things like a good oven or a good camera or something is a little bit different. But spending money on grand luxuries just end up being liabilities in the long run. The reason I suggest people to boot Arch because it really is the simpler one. It's minimal and it lets you keep things simple. You get to ask yourself, what do I use a computer for? Okay, that's what I'm going to install on top of this teletype port I have been given by installing Arch. And like I said, apply this philosophy to other areas in your life as well. Like buying furniture for your house. Keep that shit minimal too. And in the end of the day, life is too short for bloat. Not just in operating systems, but in everything. So stop wasting it. Thanks for watching.